Okay, what's your full name?
Gadsy here, Buckshot Prospector. I hope you're well and I hope life is treating you well. I'm making a bit of jewellery again today and we're going to try and cut a really nice rock. One that I've been holding off for a little bit. This rock is so cool. It's labradorite. It's got just an electric kind of lines through it all. So I need to cut a slice of this and then I'll shape it. And then I will polish and make it a bit more of a fancier rock. I'm going to attempt to try and facet this, but a very basic facet that's going to be kind of smooth, because I've found with the labradorite, when you cab it, it has a tendency to lose a bit of the shine. So if you facet it, it seems to capture some of that shine on different angles. So that's why I am doing a faceted kind of style. I'm only going to operate one camera because it seems as though doing the two camera thing is just too much of a stuff around when it comes to editing. I do apologize if this is not too sharp of a picture, but yeah, with the other camera it seems as though I can't really get a enough focus, so I'll move the stone up a little bit and it goes all out of focus. So that's what I'm going to do. One camera, much more easier for me. I'm going to say this is going to be a multi-day video, but you'll only see like the full video in one go. The reason for that is it's a bit time consuming doing each kind of thing, so yeah, and I've got sort of limited time with everything. Now this has been cut, a bit hard to tell with the light, but yeah, now I'm going to try and mark this up. I think the best thing to do is mark it on the roughed up side because it might absorb a bit better into the rock, or the marker anyway. The less I need to cut, the better. Right, so we've got the first bit. Now I'm going to use this. Try and get it aligned. Like that. Okay, maybe not that one. I'll remark it. That's looking a bit better. Yeah. I'm just doing this by eye. It doesn't have to be accurate, I'm not too concerned about that. Now I'll trim this down, just wait for this marker to dry out. So this is pretty much cut. What I need to do now is put some faceting on the edges. So I'm going to use a diamond blade and just go along the edge like that. Yes, I know I'm doing it by hand and by eye, but that's just how I'm going to do it. So it doesn't need to be accurate. So the edges are kind of done. They're not very even, but yeah, I'm gonna now smooth these out a bit more. So what I need to do now is just go through all the different grits and polish this. So I won't bore you with the process of doing it bit by bit, so we'll just time lapse this part. Yeah, it polished up alright. It ended up kind of being a cab in the end anyway. Yeah, I wasn't able to keep any of those sharper lines, but yeah, well, I reckon it still will work. So the next step is to try and make a frame for this and then wrap it. So now I'll start making the frame. That might be tomorrow, so yeah. Now I've got some flat wire here that I've already flattened, and it was, I think, 18 gauge round wire. I cut out using the pasta maker to flatten this because it's just pretty damn time consuming. I've got the stone. I have to really think about this for a second because I don't know whether I want to have it like this piece where it sort of wraps around and goes up and behind, or if I want something a bit different, possibly like that. I was dabbling with some frames like these, sort of similar to this one with a bit of a different shape to it. I really don't know with this frame because I'm sort of tempted to try something a bit different. The stone's a lot more smaller as well, so I can't really work something like that long because it's almost half the size of that. That's similar in size. Yeah, so what I think I'll do is get the rough frame of this, so that's going to be the outer frame of it, and we'll work with that. So I have to just try and roughly guess what the midway point. Oh, I shouldn't guess, I should just measure it. So that's 33. It's not ideally, it's not very straight, this wire. Okay, it's 32, so 32, 15, 16. So that's a halfway mark. I've got some new pliers. I'm happy with these new pliers. We're just going to bend this like this to start off with. We'll just bend it as a starting point. And then we'll bring it up. We want it to sort of go around the stone a bit. So I have to sort of bend this around. I'll just use this paintbrush to widen this out a bit, and then I can pinch it down just so it's a bit more symmetrical. can see this, it should house the gem pretty good. So that's framed right around it. Now I'll just pinch this up here, and then I'll maybe just give it a little bit of space. So there, and then fold these two wires back over. Sorry about the sound in the background, it's just my heater. It's still cold up here. Just press these down so they're nice and even. And then I'll turn this up just a bit. And then from there go a little bit halfway, bend this down, same deal on this side. Just want to keep on checking this so it's accurate. I want them to be symmetrical and not one higher than the other. That one's alright. Then I'll get this one to the top and bend it down. Same with this side. Bend it down. So that's like that. Now this one needs to be bent out like that. Same with this one. Needs to be bent out. And then from there we can bend this in. This one needs to go up a little. So now what I need to do is solder this. Now I'm trying to work out, I might just solder one part and then utilize these two bits to work into the frame a bit more. So yeah, I don't know quite yet. I'm just freestyling this as I always do. So yeah, we'll do the soldering next. So yeah, I'll see you tomorrow because I'm not doing it tonight. So the next step is I need to make a pickle to put this in after it's gone through the soldering process. So I've got some hot water here. I've got to add some table salt, a tablespoon of table salt. Let's roughly go by eye. Yeah, that should be right. And we've got some citric acid, 2 tablespoons of that. Right, and I just mix that up with a random object that I found in the shed. What this will do is it will remove any of the scale and tarnishing on the copper after it's been soldered. So now we do the soldering. We have the pendant here. What I need to do is solder this section here. So I put flux on it, just on that joint. Sorry about the sound of the chainsaw in the background. My neighbours are doing some cutting today. Right. Hopefully that's enough. Cut. Now I've cut some solder. I'll just cut some solder. that should be an adequate amount. I've lost my solder. Oh, there it is. Right, so I put the solder on the other side of the wire. I'll put the solder on the joint if I can get it in line. So the solder is on the joint like this. Don't flip. And then I flip it around and just heat this up until it drops. Shouldn't take too long. There we go. Just heat it a bit more into the pickle and let that sit for a little bit. And hopefully it should do its job. Hopefully. This is the first time I've done a pickle, so I don't know if it's going to actually work or not, but we'll wait and see. I don't know how long I have to leave it in here for. I don't want to leave this in for too long because the salt will react with the copper as well. It's going to change the color of the copper. Alright, we'll pull it out and see how we go. Didn't really do anything. So yeah, there we go. Now, so I think what I'll do is I'll solder these two joints as well. Just drop any second, 1, 2. Yep, there we go. Hit for a little bit more. Now the next step is me just grinding off some of that solder and just buffing this metal a bit, just to make it a bit more cleaner looking. And yeah, so we'll do that now. Now it really doesn't matter too much how shiny this is because this is going to get tarnished anyway. Yeah, but I think that's alright. I still don't know about this. I don't know if I should just cut these off. I think I will actually. So I'll grind these two stumps down. This is soldered and quickly buffed. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to wire wrap this. So we'll take this into my room and we'll do that. So we're back in my room now. We've got the frame and we've got the labradorite. What I was thinking is that I'm going to try to set 2 stones. So this is a agate that I polished up a while back and just haven't used it yet. It's a nice looking stone. So I'm thinking that I'll have that sitting here. If I can, have that sitting there and then the labradorite sitting below it like this. I'll see how I go, but first I need to wrap a frame around this labradorite already pre-made. Yeah, I'll just reuse this. We want it to come around and kind of pinch the stone, but also fit into the actual frame. So if we push that like that. Down a bit, we'll straighten it. So I just have to wire wrap the base wire 3 times, pushing them down, just so it's got somewhere to hold on to when wrapping. Right, I wrapped it up the top, just really basic. Now I need to somehow get this to attach to the rest of the frame. I was at first thinking, oh yeah, I'll just slot it in to the frame. I could try and attempt to do that now. The only issue that I have is this top section won't fit in. So unless I cut these 2 wires at the top and hope to God that it will fit. Come on, get in there. Hope to God this will sit in the frame like that. Right, we've got that done. Although it does look pretty damn rough. That looks pretty rough, doesn't it? I am tempted to solder this frame in and then put the stone into the frame, so I think that's what I might actually do. Right, so that's soldered. I kind of had a bit of a problem and the solder came undone at this end, so I'm just going to wrap that. I can't be bothered trying to solder it because it'll just keep on falling out. So I'll put this stone back into place if I can. Right, so that's in. Now I'm going to wrap this top section here. What I'll do with this is hammer it like I've done with this bit there, so I'll do that. So the next step that I need to do is I'm going to try and put a frame over the top of this with just some wire. I've got a plan for this. So this is 18 I think centimeters maybe, no, 18, I don't know, it's 18 something. So I have to do it at 9. This is a flat, this is a square wire as well. So I want to try and put this over the stone so it just gives it a bit more, so it just stays in a bit more. So I'm going to try and maybe attach it to the base of here and then go from there. But first of all, I need to flatten this. I'll just run this through the pasta maker and be back in a second. So this has been flattened just a little bit so I can go a bit more plush against the stone. So I need to wire wrap this bottom section here. So that's what I'll do next. Just cut a smaller length of this wire and I'll just quickly do this. I'll just take this down so it stays exactly where I want it to. Just makes it a lot more easier so I don't slip up or anything. So this is the first part of the wrap done. So that's connected. So now what I want to try and do is just bring these in. So it sort of encases this stone a little bit. Sort of like that. I'm tempted to do a honeycomb hexagon kind of shape just at the top here, maybe. I'll see if I can do it. So bend that. Like so. That's better. So I'll overlap these maybe? No, I won't. I'll do the same thing here. Straighten it. And then I'll fold these in behind the stone like this. If it will let me. Right, so I've got those kind of wrapped behind. It took a little bit of fiddling around. Now I want to try and somehow attach these to the actual frame. So I'm thinking this is probably the best bet, is going over onto this section and bringing it back around. Right, that one's attached. Even though it's a bit rough, I don't really like the back of it. That can get covered up though. Now I have to do the other side. Right, so they're both attached now. They're a bit rough looking. I'm not too happy about that, but I can cover that up. Now, what I need to do next is I need to make a coil. So I'll just show you how I do a coil. You'll need an electric drill. I've got a length of square wire, and I need a decent length of this. Probably about that long. This isn't very complicated. It just takes a little bit of patience just to get it set up right, and then you can go guns with it. So you fold the wires over like this, and then you put them into the drill bit. Now if you can see this, I'll try and do it close up. As it spins around, it coils around the square wire. That's all you have to do. So I'll just quickly do this, and once I've completed it, yeah. And we have a nice coil, if you can see that. Now I could do another coil with the coil, but I'm not going to do that. I'm not bold enough to try that just yet. So now we need to use this to weave through this frame a bit. So I've got an idea of maybe having it come in and out. So I'll just trim this down just a little bit more. And we'll just kind of roughly bend it in the middle. And we'll slot these two in. So we'll have this coming in and out of the frame. So far I've threaded the coil around, through and behind the frame. I'm just trying to cover up the wires that I attach on the front of the stone here. Okay, cut that and cut this one on this side. Right, so we've got the coil around it now. I'm a bit so-so about it at the moment. I can see that it's not symmetrical in parts. But yeah, so I had 3 pieces here, 2 that I've done off camera. I added a little bit more wire to this, just the front of it, and I've also put some little rings at the top of the piece. The next step is putting some tarnish on the copper. This is liver of sulfur, which helps tarnish the copper, and this is just baking soda to neutralize the effects of the liver of sulfur. So what I do now is just chuck these into the water, or the liver of sulfur, and let them change color. That's definitely changed the color of them. I'll take these out of the liver of sulfur, put them into the baking soda, let them just sit in there for a little bit, just to neutralize anything that's happening there. Wash off all the liver of sulfur, because we don't want it to keep on reacting. So it's darkened some of the metals, not all of it. Some of the copper is tarnish free, so it won't tarnish at all, but it gives a nice balance of like clean and dark metals. Get the other one. This one's had a bit of a weird effect, so it's kind of done the opposite there. It's all right. And then we've got the one that we've worked on in this video. So the frame's kind of tarnished. The rest of it sort of stayed a bright copper. So now I just neutralize this liver of sulfur with the remaining liquid from the baking soda, and I'll dispose of that afterwards. My shed now smells like farts because of the eggy sulfur smell. What I need to do now is just quickly give these frames a once over with a disc, just to expose some of that metal underneath it. So I'm using this little spinny disc here. these are all done. What I'm going to do is add a few more things to this one and we'll see how it turns out. So I'll see you back in my room. Right, so we're back in my room and I've already done a little bit to this. So I added some little beads just here and I've wrapped the wire around and up through these. So that was one thing I've done. I want to do something else to this as well. So I've been doing a few little experiments and I've been making these. So there's one, it's a copper ring and it's filled with UV resin. That one's a bit more fatter. So this is the blue UV resin that I use. So basically what I do is I've got these three little rings here. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to fill these with the UV resin. That is white. And just fill that up. And I put this onto a little mat, and the mat will prevent, oh, that's not good, it's bubbling. The mat will prevent the UV resin from sticking. So next what I have to do is put this under UV light. So put them under the UV light and let them cure. Right. I think they're pretty cured. Right. So next I have to just kind of take some of the excess resin that's on the edge of these. If you can see, that's easy done. I'll just peel that away. Excuse my big hands. Great, I just dropped a tiny little one, so I'll have to redo another one, sorry. Whilst that small one's curing, I'll try and describe what I'm going to do. So we have these little blue things. I'm only going to use one of them, but the plan is to try and attach that to this. Now, I thought, no, I could just wire wrap over it, but I thought of a different method that's way quicker. That is attaching it to a wire. So the back of it has more resin on the back and it's laid in, so I can just put it onto the frame like this. So I'll show you how I actually did this. So what I do, so these are the back side of the lenses. We get some thin wire, we've cut a length of it, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to tape it down. So I'll tape this one down onto the mat and then put that under there, then put the wire over the back of the lensy blue thingy and fasten it down, and I'll do the same with this one. I'll get the white resin and just glob a bit of it, come on, bubble, put a bit of it over the back. This is a little bit thicker, this stuff. Once it comes out of the tube. So we're basically gluing the wire onto the back of the lens. Now this is done. I'll put this over the top of that, like so. Let it cure. Right, so I wasn't recording, stupid me. What I've done is I've just threaded this through with the wires onto the frame, so I'm just continuing to do that now. Sorry I missed that. I thought I was recording, but I wasn't paying attention. So we'll thread this through this frame here. I just need it to be sort of semi close to the lendy kind of thing. Right, so that's attached there. Now for this little jimmy bit thing that I got, I want to try and put it in between these like that. You can see I want to have it sort of sitting in the middle behind this. So what I'm going to attempt to do, I haven't done this before and I'm a bit hesitant to do it, is some Gorilla Glue gel. This is good for metals and other things like that, and it's a gel, so it sort of is able to, it doesn't bleed straight into any object, it sits on top of the object. So I'm going to try and do this. I'm hoping God it will work. It was a bit more fiddly than I wanted it to be. Now I'll place this stony lens not that way, but the other way around, right into the middle. And hopefully it sits and cures. So this is all dried up now. I'm going to attach the wire and we'll have a look at it when it's all nice and finished. So I think that piece turned out all right. There was a few experiments here and there and just guessing what I should and shouldn't do, but all round I think it works. So yeah, the piece is available if anyone wants to purchase it. Contact me on YouTube or via Facebook and we'll do some kind of deal. I don't know. But yeah, I hope you enjoyed this video and I will be seeing you in a couple days when I go out prospecting. So see ya. Thanks for watching.